every night at 3 a.m. I was wide awake. And everybody I talked to told me this is just what happens when you get older. Well, guess what? That's completely a lie. I'm going to tell you why I couldn't sleep at night and what actually finally fixed it. Some of the things were a little strange, but they worked. So if you're over 50 and you're struggling with good sound sleep, some of these things may work for you too. I never had issues sleeping through the night until I had 3 kids back to back in my late 30s. And any of you that have kids know that mom radar is a real thing. You never get into a sound sleep. So by the time they finally got old enough to sleep through the night, I was sliding towards menopause, which meant no more good sleep for me. I tried melatonin and it worked until it didn't. And then I defaulted to Benadryl, and that began my nightly habit. And it was a crutch for me for years, until I found out something that actually makes me really angry, but we'll circle back to that in a minute. Fast forward some years and a few gray hairs later, and I was starting to feel the effects of arthritis creeping in and taking effect on my joints. It was affecting my everyday life and pretty frustrating. That's when I decided to try the carnivore diet. So carnivore absolutely helped me with my arthritis, but didn't do a thing for my sleep. I was still waking up at 2 and 3 in the morning. I hated lying there in bed with my eyes closed, just secretly hoping that I would magically fall back asleep again. Have you ever been there? So frustrating. Well, after doing that for a couple of years, I decided to make a trip to the doctors, and we did some tests, and that revealed that I had high cortisol. My cortisol was spiking at 3 in the morning, which is why I couldn't sleep. Cortisol is actually the fight or flight hormone, and so my body was constantly on high alert and never wanted to rest. So it was both a relief to know what finally was going on, but also a frustration, because what that meant is for all of these years I could have been working on fixing it. I thought it was just a part of getting older. But now that meant I finally could do something. So even though the carnivore diet didn't fix my sleep, it absolutely was the best first step for me to make in the direction of getting better sleep. And here's the reason why. By getting rid of sugar, carbs, and processed food, it quieted any and all inflammation in my body. It also got rid of any metabolic noise or responses that my body would have had to those, so I could eliminate those as the reasons and issues that I wasn't sleeping. So it gave me a lot of clarity. And lastly, it definitely helped control any of my hormonal issues. Cortisol and estrogen chaos was real. So it removed the chaos and gave me a clean slate so I could actually see what was going on with my body. Now that I knew it was really just as simple as shifting that cortisol spike from 3 a.m. to 5 or 6 a.m., I was excited. It didn't have to just be that I accepted it. And it sounded, in theory, really simple, right? Yeah. Well, not quite. I started on my research, and the following 5 things are the things that help me get my sleep back. You don't want to miss this, because one of them may be the one that helps get you back on track for those 7 and 8 hour night sleeps. The first thing I needed to realize, it wasn't just about what I was eating, but when I was eating it. If I ate my last meal too late in the day, it messed up my sleep. My body wanted to make a choice. Did I want to digest or did it want to rest? I had to pick one and let it do it. So that was the first thing I needed to realize. I moved my eating time back. But also what I ate at that time made a big difference. When I ate fattier cuts of meat for that last meal, fat takes longer to digest, and therefore, again, my body was too busy digesting to rest. So I kept my fattier meals earlier in the day and my leaner meat for that last meal. That absolutely helped so much. Also, another issue that was related to food, and I've discussed it in a previous video, is I realized I had methylation issues. And methylation is just the process where your body takes the food that you eat and converts it into the vitamins that we need. So what does that even mean? That means my body wasn't getting the vitamin B's that it needed to create melatonin that helped me fall asleep. If you're interested in learning more about this, let me know in the comments below and I'll make another video that dives into that a little bit more. So basically, it was like my body having the blueprint to make a house, but it didn't have the raw materials to actually put it together. So I did actually add some supplements, which gave me what I needed to help produce that naturally. And by the way, if doing the carnivore diet sounds like something that you might be interested in trying out, I actually created a free 7-day carnivore starter kit, and it's in the description below. All right, this next one really hurt because honestly, this I had done to myself, and now I had to undo it. We hear all the time that we need to learn when to say no. And some of us think, it's okay, I can do it, I can handle it. Okay, I thought that. And so I had piled a lot of commitments onto myself, just adding to the stressors of my life that I already had. Some of them were really good things, but some of them I really just didn't need to have in my life and needed to let them go. And it was hard to tell other people, I'm sorry, I just can't, even if they didn't understand. So I did that. I pared down a ton of stuff, and some of them I was sad to see go, but it actually did alleviate a lot of pressure off of me. One of those big things was resetting my work schedule. That was hard because I actually had to take a pay cut to do it. So, is my health worth it? Absolutely. This next one seemed really kind of woo-woo, okay? And I wasn't so sure about it. But let me tell you what it is and share how it changed things for me. Light therapy and grounding. Maybe you've heard about it. I hadn't really before this, but it was definitely a strong way to send signals to my body about, okay, this is morning and this is night. And what it involved was making sure that at the same time every morning, I would get up and put on this lamp that was 10,000 lux to simulate outside light and keep it there while I got ready for work in the morning. At the same time, I had my grounding mat on the floor. Now, they're not very expensive. The light was $15 and the mat was about $30. So just that small investment helped push things further towards those 7 and 8 hour sleep nights. By having that light on, I was signaling to my brain, hey, 5 a.m. is wake up time, not 3. And the grounding mat just helped, again, for my body to feel calmer and less wired as I eased into the day. And I really feel like both these actually did make a difference for me. And it might be something you want to try. But it wasn't enough just to communicate with my body when morning was. I had to put some things into effect at night to let it know it was time to shut down. I think this can be the hardest for many of us. Now, I would like to tell you all that I was really great and just dropped scrolling at night completely, but that's not what happened. I couldn't give up my scrolling. It was a time for me to unwind and just be mindless. I actually got a blue light filter or red filter, whatever you want to call it, called Twilight. It's a free app. You can look it up. But I put that on the last 2 hours of my night before I go to sleep. And that way there, I'm still able to enjoy scrolling and it doesn't affect the way that I fall asleep. The other thing I did is in my bedroom next to my bed, I switched out those bright bulbs for one of the old school 60-watt, really warm bulbs. And that, again, is just signaling to my body that it's twilight, it's time to go to sleep. And I really felt like this just added to the whole feeling of relaxation and easing into my night. All right, let's go back to Benadryl. Well, that was one of the first things I ditched, and let me tell you why. It made me really angry, and it might make you angry too if you don't already know this. But Benadryl actually doesn't really help you sleep. It just kind of sedates you. When you take Benadryl, you never actually fall into REM sleep. And REM sleep is what we need to heal and restore our bodies. And here's the part that really made me angry. Long-term use of Benadryl has been linked to dementia. Yes, I didn't know that. I really didn't know that. And so when I found that out, I was so angry because it's marketed as so safe. What really hit me hard about that was that my mom was diagnosed with Alzheimer's at 61. I'm 57. And I'm thinking, I don't want to go in that direction. So it really struck a chord for me. I had been watching her go downhill and was doing the same thing to myself. Oh, no way. Now, before I get into the last thing that I tried that finally pushed me into that 7 or 8 hours a night sleep, I want to talk about something. And it's something that you're not going to want to hear. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't even happen in a week or two. It takes time to retrain your sleep. And it takes commitment. It took me 79 days before I saw the first night of 7 hours of sleep. And then it started happening consecutively with a random 2 or 3 a.m. wake up as I went. But 79 days, it's not going to be fast. And that's the part we don't want to hear. Let me give you some tips for as you transition through to find your sleep again. Number one, if you wake up, don't get upset. I remember I used to get so angry that it was yet another night that I was awake and I just wanted to be asleep because I was so flippin' tired. Just resign to the fact that this is a process. Be patient. There were times that I would actually cry in the dark thinking, when is it going to happen? One thing you can do is try slow, deep breathing, slowing your breath down, actually signals to your brain that you're safe, it's okay, you can fall back asleep. Sometimes that worked for me. Other times it did not. Also, by only focusing on your breathing, it helps you to push away any of those other thoughts that want to keep you awake. Again, this sounds a little weird, but I was willing to try anything. I got on YouTube and they actually have these delta waves are supposed to be, it's music that's supposed to help you fall asleep. And sometimes that actually did work for me. And if you use that, you have to put on the timer, the sleep timer, or you're going to get woken up by an ad. Ask me how I know. One of the other things that actually helped me was I would just pray through every person I knew. As I lay there, I thought, if I'm going to be awake, why not? And now here's the thing that finally pushed me over the edge and helped me to finally break through and get my nights back. And that was giving up coffee. I was so sad because I love coffee, and being on the carnivore diet and having given up everything else, coffee was the one thing that I hadn't have to give up. And I was so sad. I resisted it for years. I didn't want to. And yet I knew it was probably the last thing that I could try that might make a difference. And I'm glad I did, because it did. And I do have a video about that. It's going to be linked either here or here. I'm not sure. But if you want to see more about what happened and how I came off of the coffee, you can check that out. In the meantime, if you're interested in how to get started, like I mentioned earlier in the video, I would highly recommend going at the very least keto, but definitely carnivore will help clear the noise so you can get a handle on your sleep. And if you're interested, don't forget I've got that starter kit in the link below. Bottom line is, don't believe that not sleeping is a part of aging. We've been lied to. Take back control of your health and your life. Don't just survive your nights, reclaim them. Thanks for being here, and I hope this helped. If you're interested in any of these, just let me know and I can do a deeper dive video.